Greetings! The decades-long journey of the shuttle-derived heavy-lift exploration rocket is about to reach its first launch milestone. NASA had good news in the L-1 countdown briefing. Jeff Spaulding, the Artemis Senior NASA Test Director, reported that although there were 5 lightning events at the pad yesterday, none reached the intensity to require invasive testing. Everything looks good from the hardware side, with the exception of a small leak in the ground side helium system. They expect to resolve the leak during the day. The weather remains somewhat favorable, 80% go at the start of the window, but declining to 60% as the 2-hour window progresses. By the way, the launch target is on the precise minute 8:33:00 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Here are some highlights of the briefing.
We've had a really good day on our first day of the launch countdown. Yesterday we picked up the count right on time at 9:53, and we started our clock at 10:23 in the morning. Since that time, we've been working really hard. We got the vehicles powered up and have been doing testing throughout the day and evening as we worked along. We did yesterday, you may have seen, we had some, I would call them kind of spectacular, amazing events as we do every day here in Florida. Some lightning things happened. We'll go ahead and I want to mention that up front. We did have some strikes that we recorded on our tower, lightning tower at the pad, working as it nominally should. And we did have those. We've been evaluating those through yesterday and through last night. And everything to date, it looks very good from a vehicle perspective. We haven't had to do any significant retest. We have a threshold that we look at to see what the magnitude of these strikes are, and we did not meet that criteria to have to do intensive or invasive type of retest. So we're able to work all of that yesterday very cleanly with our team, and our management team did approve last night that as well. Those occurred yesterday afternoon. At about 1:14 or so in the afternoon, we had a couple events at 1:16. So far everything looks really good, and as I mentioned, we have gone through and worked all of the evaluations that are normally done when we do have these type of lightning events. And hopefully we won't have any today, but we understand the weather. We'll be talking about that here next, and we'll see what that's going to bring us. We did do a little bit of retest, which included, we did some canary circuit checks, which are really just, those circuits are there to provide, if they've seen any type of voltage or things that might affect the vehicles. Those were all good. We did some walk downs, and then we did the analysis with our system experts as far as of all the data and what those lightning events were. So bottom line is we look really good. No issues, no concerns or constraints from the lightning events at this point. Let's see, so far I did mention we powered up yesterday. Later in the afternoon or last night, we did power up the RF systems on all of the vehicles, on Orion, on the core stage, on ICPS. Did those checkouts and tests. Those all went really well. We finished those into the early hours of the morning this morning. We did also work our engine final preps on the core stage yesterday, got through all of those, and again, those finished early this morning as well, about 1 o'clock in the morning. We've done the battery charging on both Orion and the core stage. Those are complete. So that's all going really well and all as planned and on schedule. We are currently pressurizing our helium tanks on the core stage and configuring some of the umbilicals. We've looked ahead at the weather. We know we're going to probably get some later this afternoon. We did have quite a bit of work planned on second shift tonight. We're pulling some of that in to try to get those events going on some of the pad facility closeouts and some of the configurations that we do on some water systems and elevators and some of those other things. So we are trying to be very proactive, looking ahead and evaluating those things and adjusting as required, knowing that we might get some weather as we have the last few days. Let's see, we are going to continue later today with some of the Orion checkouts and some of the health checks that we do on those. Those are just standard and normal that we do. As we get into this tonight, we will be working towards cryo load. And the first part of that is getting on GN2 and inerting the vehicle. We're working those preps later second shift tonight. At about 9:45 or so, we'll be flowing GN2 to the vehicle to inert it to get ready for cryo load later when we get back in, after we get done with that, sorry. We will clear the pad at about 8:30 tonight, just in anticipation of the safe and arm device rotations that we do, which are normal planned things that we do before we get into cryo load. And that'll happen at about 10:30, and then we'll enter our 2.5-hour built-in hold at 10:53 tonight. I think we've talked a few times that we did extend that quite a while back from what it was previously, but it's 2.5 hours starting then. Towards the end of that hold at 11:53 tonight, we're expecting to get a go from the launch director and MMT if everything looks good and they've evaluated all the criteria, and we are going to be go for cryo load. That's the timing that we would be looking for to get that, and then we would start the cryo load operations at that time with some of our valve configurations getting ready to flow cryos. We start on the liquid oxygen side, and then a little bit later, about an hour and a half or so, we start on the hydrogen side on the core stage and work through that. Once core stage is done, then we fill the upper stage as well throughout the night. We do have the pre-press test scheduled for about 5:40 a.m. That test shouldn't take us too long. I think it's been talked a couple of times, but it's a test that actually is we do during the terminal part account, and we're just going to do it a little bit early just to get some and evaluate the data there and the performance of the valve, the valving as well, so we can kind of pre-select the positions of some of those valves as we get into terminal count. So that'll help us out a little bit there. We have some final guidance system aligns that we'll be working as we're doing tanking as well. We power up the range safety systems and do some final checkouts about 2 hours or so prior to launch. We'll work all through those as per our normal timelines. We do also have some of our final vehicle and ground configs that we'll do once we get to the hold. There's a hold at T-minus 10 minutes. It's 30 minutes long. That picks up at about 7:53. We do anticipate the opening of the window and hitting that at 8:33 a.m. We have a 2-hour window on our first day. If for some reason we do have to use subsequent days, our nominal plan is to go on the 5th. The opening of that window is at 12:48 local time. And, excuse me, the 2nd is the first opportunity, sorry. It's 4-day turnaround, and then the next opportunity will be on the 5th at 17:12, which is 5:12 in the afternoon. So that's kind of where we are. It's been a really good first day of the launch countdown. We're within 24 hours of launch right now, which is pretty amazing for where we've been on this journey. So our team right now is, I will say, super excited, and we are prepared for anything I think that throws at us. To the 4 WDRs we've done in the past really, I think, have prepared us for the moment we're at now for virtually any situation that can come up. But we are excited. The vehicle's going to be ready. It's ready right now. Looks great to proceed with this inaugural launch of the Artemis program.
But I'm kind of slicing and dicing it for you. Basically, the beginning of the launch window, or just after 8:30 in the morning, has a 80% chance of favorable weather. As we creep forward in time through the 2-hour launch window, we just have a better chance of some of those offshore showers and maybe a thunderstorm or two creeping closer to the coastline. And also because across the spaceport, we're likely to have some billowing clouds form as we get into 10 o'clock and the 11 o'clock time frame in the late morning hours.
The team in the LCC controlling the count is substantially smaller at 91 than it was for the shuttle when there were about 200 controllers. Spaulding has been with NASA since 1987 and became a shuttle test director in 2000. He also started working on the first KSC exploration team, developing ground operations concepts way back in 1997. The LCC will use new processing and launch software called the Launch Control System. The LCS offers significant improvement over previous processing and launch software in that it gives controllers unprecedented insight into vehicle and systems testing throughout the processing of the SLS and Orion. Firing Room 1, renamed the Young Crippen Firing Room, will control the Artemis launch. One voice we'll hear during the final count is that of Alex Pandalos, Ground Launch Sequencer Engineer, call sign CGLS. The terminal count is initiated at T-minus 10 minutes, core stage APU start at T-minus 4 minutes, and go for automated launch sequencer at T-minus 33 seconds. The 4 Shuttle Heritage RS-25 engines will start up at T-minus 6.36 seconds at 200 millisecond intervals. The rocket's red glare marked another Starlink launch from Pad 40 late Saturday evening, and the incredible run of successful Falcon 9 flights continued. Thunderstorms forced the SpaceX team to postpone the liftoff twice. And there was a small surprise. The payload of 54 satellites, one more than the standard launch, set a record for the heaviest Falcon payload ever, thanks to engine tweaks and small upgrades. The total mass was 36,800 pounds. Musk went to Twitter to tout the achievement. Squeezing extra performance out of Falcon 9, almost 17 metric tons, to an actual useful orbit with booster and fairing reusable! The flight was designated as Starlink 4-23, the 57th Starlink mission, with 3,162 birds launched thus far. Booster B-1069 saw its second launch after it sustained significant damage on its first mission. Some other stats. It was the 172nd Falcon 9 launch and the 134th overall successful booster recovery, and the 38th launch of Falcon 9 this year.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, Daryl.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Hey, thanks for having me out. So this is it.
This is it. This is the PLI.
The NASA Portable Lightning Instrumentation. I see it right here. You're going to take it up there all the way to where the top of the rocket is?
Yeah, right around where the payload fairing is, level 5.
All right.
That's where we're going.
Well, you need a hand?
Yeah, come help us.
Now that we're inside the VIF and we're about 13 stories up, tell me a little bit about this box. You've got some, looks like some sensors here.
That's right. So we got the current probe, which is over near the rocket, and we have 3 more sensors over here. This one is an electric field sensor. This one up here is a magnetic field sensor. And this little one over here, that's a GPS antenna. That's how we get it, make sure our data stays synchronized in time, so that we can correlate that data to all the other lightning detection networks in the area.
So what happens if there's a lightning strike somewhere nearby? What does this do?
So if it's close enough to cause any interference in this area, these field sensors will pick it up first. And they'll cause the entire system to take a snapshot of that data and record it.
And how is that helpful?
We'll know what the peak of it was, we'll know how long the transient lasted, we'll be able to calculate how much energy traveled through there. We'll have a lot more information to work on.
Small box, big rocket, but it's got a big role in the whole scheme of things.
It's got a big job, that's for sure.
So we can see those lightning towers out there, and
That's
ULA
right.
tells me that protects the rocket when the lightning strikes. So why do we need the PLI?
Yeah, so this system over here, we call that the lightning protection system. That's designed to protect it from a direct lightning strike. That means the lightning is attaching directly to the rocket, and we're concerned about, a lightning strike out there in the ocean, maybe just a mile away. And the energy in a lightning strike is so intense, it creates these very powerful magnetic and electric fields. And those are the things we're concerned about, because that magnetic field can come through and couple into the umbilical cable. It's a huge loop, it makes a big old loop, and that's the current we're looking for with the PLI.
Has the PLI ever prevented a long launch delay for a previous mission?
Mars 2020 was where the data from the PLI gave the spacecraft team the confidence to go ahead and launch.
So there was a lightning strike around the Mars Perseverance rocket.
That's right.
And you saw it?
And we gathered that data, yep.
And it launched on time.
It did. And it's up there now.
That's right, on Mars.
That's right.
And that's the way space is today. And what a day we have ahead of us. Really hoping the weather holds, the hardware performs, and NASA can light this candle. Until tomorrow, ad in explorata toward the unknown in the measureless arena of space. Stay tough and competent. Thanks for watching.